Alright, so today we're going to talk about driver readiness as well as road rage. So, driver readiness, okay? So, age. Age affects coordination and vision. Young drivers have the advantage, and yet statistics demonstrate that young drivers have more accidents. Older drivers, having slower reflexes and reduced hearing and vision, have less accidents because they adapt by driving more slowly. They depend on their experience to avoid critical situations. Young novice drivers with quick reflexes and excellent vision have to learn to control their impulses, develop their judgment, and build up their experience, thus avoiding the mistakes that produce collisions. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 1 in 3 deaths for teenagers and young adults are due to motor vehicle crashes. So, car crashes is the #1 killer of teens. All right, and of course, when you're out there on the road, the best way to improve your chances of not getting into an accident is getting experience. So the more often you drive, the more hours you get behind the wheel, the more ability and patterns you build in your brain in order to avoid collisions. Now, the best way to avoid a car crash altogether is not getting into a car, not getting anywhere near a road if you want to talk statistics. But at the same time, if you want to mitigate risk in terms of you knowing you have to drive, the more experience behind the wheel you have, the less likely you're going to be involved in an accident because that experience is going to make you a better driver. Thus, the reason why older people have less accidents, because their experience allows them to become better drivers and see situations before they happen. They can predict them a lot better than someone who's never seen it before. All right, so that's very important. All right, driver readiness, alcohol and drugs. Driving while under the influence of alcohol and drugs will have a significant impact on your ability to drive. When we get to alcohol and drugs section of the course, you will learn how alcohol affects the body and why it's important to check with your doctor and pharmacist when taking prescriptions and over-the-counter medicine. Later in the course, a few days from now, we're going to have a whole section on alcohol and drugs, and we're going to dive deep into how alcohol and drugs actually affect your body while driving, but it is part of driver readiness. So anytime you get behind the wheel, make sure that you're not under the influence of alcohol or any other type of drugs. And if you're not sure whether or not over-the-counter medication is going to affect your ability to drive, please read the warning labels on the actual medication so that way you have a better understanding of whether or not it's safe for you to get behind the wheel when driving your vehicle. All right. So fatigue and staying alert. Now, this affects anyone and everyone, and it's not just because of alcohol and drugs. Many things can lead to fatigue. Okay, so fatigue is both mental and physical. All right, it could be both at the same time or one or the other. It can make it difficult to stay awake and physically react while driving. So, what are some of the causes of fatigue? Some of the causes of fatigue include lack of sleep, stress, boredom, illness, heavy foods like junk food, and overeating, and prolonged driving and not taking breaks. Okay, all these things, including a few others you'll find in your chapter, this will cause fatigue. Okay, so if you're susceptible to fatigue, or if you're not sure whether you have fatigue, these are some of the causes that lead up to fatigue. So it's a good idea to know what it means and what causes it. All right, so warning signs of fatigue: trouble keeping your eyes open, difficult maintaining a constant speed, trouble keeping your head up, your vehicle keeps drifting into other lanes, rumble strips. Now, those rumble strips on the side of the road that go every time you roll over them, those are helped to alert you when you're near the edge of the road. And a lot of times truckers who have to do long hauls and they don't have someone to help out with their driving, a lot of times if they start to drift, they'll hit those rumble strips. It vibrates your vehicle, it's very loud, and it wakes you up and alerts you to you drifting in your lane. So in your final exam, you may find a question on rumble strips. So remember what rumble strips are, and that way you can get that question right. Wandering, disconnected thoughts. You cannot remember the last few minutes of or miles of your drive. So when you go deep into daydreaming or you can't really focus on the task at hand, that could be a sign of fatigue. All right, so how do we prevent fatigue? All right, you want to get plenty of rest, plenty of sleep. And by the way, the best cure for fatigue is sleep. All right, so if you know you haven't been getting much sleep, the best way to go ahead and overcome that fatigue is just go ahead and get some rest. All right, so you want to avoid heavy foods and junk food. You don't want to do drugs or alcohol, especially before driving. You want to take breaks from driving at least every 2 hours or 100 miles. You don't want to get that highway hypnosis. You want to rotate drivers on long trips. So if you have a passenger with you who's a licensed driver and you're taking a long road trip, go ahead and make arrangements to rotate, right? Take turns. One sleeps while the other drives. That way it's much safer for you to drive down that roadway, and you won't succumb to fatigue. You want to keep the cabin temperature cool, okay? So having a cool cabin temperature actually activates the nervous system. The cooler it is in the cabin, the more active your nervous system is going to be. A lot of times if you ever go outside when it's cold, your body starts to shiver. Well, that shiver is the reaction of your nervous system to keep warm, and also at the same time keeps you alert. All right, 7, you want to avoid driving late at night. People sleep at night. Some people may be nocturnal. I have a tendency to stay up late myself, but at the same time, if you have a habit of sleeping at nighttime, driving at nighttime when you should be sleeping is not a good idea. So avoid driving late at night. Stay active in your driving task. Anytime you're behind the wheel and you're taking a long road trip and that highway hypnosis starts to creep up on you, just start staying active in your tasks, okay? That means looking in your mirrors, scanning left and right, looking for hazards. Another way that you could do it is by turning up the radio a little bit, maybe rolling down the windows. These are some of the things that you can do while you're inside the car if you start feeling the symptoms of fatigue. But ultimately, you want to go ahead and pull off the side of the road and find a safe place to address it. So, stopping to rest. All right. So, if you must stop and rest, take these precautions. All right. 1, find a safe road stop area. All right. Security is recommended. Now, if you could find a hotel, get a hotel, sleep it off for the night. But if you can't find a hotel, a rest area is a good idea. And you want to make sure if that place has security, that's even better. All right, so 2, you want to, if you do stop your car in a rest area, make sure it's well lit and highly visible area. All right, you want to turn off your engine, open the window slightly to allow fresh air into the cabin. You want to lock your doors, that way no one can come up to your door while you're sleeping and open it up on you. Go ahead and put back the chair a little bit, relax, try to rest. It's okay to fall asleep in that situation. And then, of course, after you wake up, take a walk around your vehicle to help you get up. And then also, taking a walk around your vehicle, you can kind of see if there's anything around your vehicle that may be dangerous as you pull out of that space. So it's a win-win when you get out of the vehicle to walk around after waking up. Now we're going to talk a little bit about road rage. All right, so road rage, it affects everybody. So anytime you're out there on the road, you may have seen it as a passenger driving with your mom and dad or your friends, somebody out there road raging. You may even seen somebody in your own family while you're in the car show road rage activity while driving. So road rage is an emotional response that can lead to violence and auto accidents while driving on the road. Road rage affects everyone and can be done by anyone. Okay, even people who are considered kind and patient in their daily lives, at work, at school, at home, they can be the nicest person in the world, but get them behind the wheel, they can actually become a very dangerous person. It's almost like Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay, so what causes road rage? All right, a lot of the little things cause road rage. Running late. A lot of times, if you are behind getting somewhere and you're in a hurry, any little thing out there on the road may cause you to be aggravated and easily get you upset. All right, so people who are normally highly emotional, if you have an anger management problem or have anger management issues, you may find yourself in more road rage incidents. Failing to use a signal, changing lanes or turning, and when you slow down and you turn and you didn't use your signal, it may upset the person behind you. Following too closely, if you start to tailgate someone, that may make them upset. Cutting someone off, if you cut them off, that may enrage them. Driving too slow can also make somebody upset. Driving too fast can also make somebody upset. Weaving in and out of traffic or any type of reckless driving can upset the people around you and may cause road rage. So these things you want to try to avoid. You don't want to trigger anybody by doing these things. And plus, at the same time, it's not safe to change lanes without a signal. It's not okay to tailgate somebody. That's a very dangerous thing to do. It's not okay to cut somebody off because we need a good following distance between cars behind us and in front of us. We don't want to take away that distance to where if anyone needed to brake hard, there's no safe cushion between you and that car. Driving too slow could also be a dangerous situation, depending on where you're at. Usually out there on the freeway, if conditions are ideal and you're still driving too slow, it may anger somebody and it may cause a dangerous situation. Also, driving too fast is definitely dangerous. Speed is the #1 killer out there in auto accidents in terms of death behind the wheel. And then, of course, any type of reckless driving is just wrong no matter the circumstance. So you always want to be a safe driver, be a defensive driver, go out there and help others stay safe as well as yourself. All right, so types of road rage. Okay, so you have the quiet road rage. A quiet road rage person is somebody who just constantly complains about other drivers, not necessarily yelling, screaming, using bad language, but just basically critiquing everybody around them. And when you complain, that's just a sign of road rage. That kind of shows your frustration a little bit, but at the same time, you're not taking it to that ultimate level. All right, so the next level would be verbal road rage. This is where you actually articulate your frustration. This is where you start using foul language, you start screaming, yelling, you have verbal outbursts, maybe even have your window down and you're yelling at somebody. That would be a verbal road rager. Now, of course, the last and strongest of road rage is what they call the epic road rage. This is where you use your car to threaten, frighten, or attack other drivers. You may have a weapon in your car. As you can see here, Grandma has a gun. She definitely ain't playing around when it comes to her being upset behind the wheel. So you got to be very careful with the epic road ragers. Those are the ones who usually end up costing somebody their life. And anytime you're around an epic road rager, you definitely want to use all the strategies that you can to diffuse the situation. So what to do? All right, so what to do if somebody is road raging around you? All right, if another driver is upset, don't engage with them. Keep your eyes focused on the road and try not to make eye contact and avoid making gestures. All right, two, if other driver fails to calm down and move on, call 911. 3, whatever you do, do not go home. Do not get out of your car. And 4, drive to your nearest police station, fire station, and or hospital. If you can't get a hold of 911 or you don't have a phone while you're driving and somebody's epic road raging around you, you don't want to engage with them. You don't want to make eye contact with them. You don't want to make gestures with them. You don't want to get involved in their road rage. You also want to make sure you don't drive anywhere that you regularly visit, right? So, and if you don't know where a police station or fire station is, you do have a lot of signs out there that can guide you to a hospital. It looks like a square blue sign with a white H in the middle of it, and underneath it you'll have an arrow kind of leading you towards that that hospital. And the reason why a hospital is important is because if you drive up to an emergency room, there's always a police officer or a deputy there who overlooks the emergency room. It's well lit, there's a lot of cameras, and at that point that road rager has to decide, do I really want to go to jail and be in some serious trouble, or do I want to go ahead and cut it off here and be on his way? So yeah, these are some strategies that you could definitely do when you're out there on the road and you're in contact with an epic road rager. So what to do if you are the road rager? Well, if you're that kind of person who does get upset easily behind the wheel, the first thing you want to do is get help. All right, so get anger management help. You don't want to get in the car angry if you feel like you're already upset, girlfriend yelled at you, having problems at home, disagreement with your parents. It doesn't really matter. If you're upset, do not get behind the wheel. Go ahead and calm down before driving. You want to leave home with plenty of time to get where you're going to avoid running late. That's very important too. So if you're the kind of person who constantly is running late by 3-4 minutes every single morning, then go ahead and get up 5-10 minutes earlier and start your day sooner. Go to bed sooner the night before. Get into a habit of moving your schedule to where you're leaving with plenty of time and you don't have to worry about being in a situation of running late. And if things do happen like traffic on the roadway, it's not going to get you upset because you got plenty of time to get there. And then of course, while you're driving, to make sure that other drivers aren't upsetting you, try to listen to relaxing music. Relaxing music, calming music definitely helps and goes a long way to keep you calm while you're out there on the road. And then also, you want to keep your car clean. Having a clean car brightens your mood, and it also makes you want to keep it clean, right? So you don't want to, go out there and start driving recklessly that may actually dirty it up or anything else. So being in a good, clean environment helps you keep keep you in a positive mood. And then also, lastly, give others the benefit of the doubt. So if a person in front of you is driving really, really slow, it could be an elderly person, really not sure where they're going, or they're driving extra slow because they don't have the reaction time that you do and they're trying to be safe. If somebody speeds past you, it could be a doctor on their way to a hospital to save somebody's life. It could be a number of circumstances. We cannot know for sure why people are driving the way they're driving. So let's go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt, and it may be for a legitimate reason. And over here I put a little graph here, what to do when you are angry. You want to stop and think. Ask yourself, how does my body feel? I know you feel frustration and everything else when you get upset, but you have to recognize it, right? So the first step in solving a problem is recognizing that problem. 2, try to calm down. Taking deep breaths, counting backwards slowly, thinking of calming thoughts, talking to yourself. Okay. 3, think out loud to solve the problem. 4, think about it later. Ask yourself, why was I angry? What did I do? What worked? What didn't work? What would I do differently? Did I do a good job? Okay. So anger will never solve your problems. When you're and that's true anywhere in life. So if you find yourself in a stressful situation at work, if you find yourself in a stressful situation at school, just know that anger only amplifies your problem. It does not solve your problem, okay? The person who has a clear mind and a clear head and a calm attitude is able to solve a problem much more effectively, efficiently, and has a better outcome to whatever negative stress that you were exposed to, and you'll be better off in the long run. So remember that anger only makes things worse. Okay, so try to stay calm in all situations, and trust me, there's going to be bad things that happen in your life. There's going to be things that you don't like or decisions that are made that really anger you. But at the same time, you can only control yourself. What others do, you have no control over. So the best thing is to control yourself. Try to think of, how can I get better moving forward? You can't change the past. You can't go back in the past. So just keep thinking to yourself, how can I improve going forward?